tonight.
I'm Jeff Keel on the Arlington Street Bridge. Coming up, I'll tell you when it could be coming down.
Also tonight, losing lots of lots.
We definitely hear that there's a need for parking here at the Forks. We still think there's a lot of parking stalls available.
How many parking spaces are disappearing at the Forks to make way for a new development, and what it means for your future trips to the central Winnipeg destination. Plus, booze sale sore spot.
Manitoba should be getting up and giving a call to all the premiers asking where governments are at.
The deadline for direct-to-consumer alcohol sales is just days away. Why some say the interprovincial deal is currently looking a little lopsided.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The demolition of the Arlington Street Bridge could begin in a matter of weeks. At an emergency meeting today, a city committee gave the green light to the $10 million contract to tear down the south side of the structure. Tonight, CTV's Jeff Keel explains why there was a sense of urgency to get this done now.
Alex Detanikazi's commute is about 35 minutes longer since the Arlington Bridge shut down for good in late 2023.
And now I have to go all the way down to this way and back this way, so it takes a while.
Demolition is set to begin on the bridge, which could clear a path for a new one.
That would be nice. I would like to see a new one here. Same route again.
The city's Public Works Committee approved a $9.9 million contract to tear down the south end of the bridge. An emergency meeting was held to approve the deal. City engineers say there is a sense of urgency to get this going, as the work over the rail tracks portion can only be done in July and August.
It's the slower period of activity within the yard is what they explain.
And then there's the bridge's condition. It was supposed to be decommissioned in 2020. Patch jobs kept it open until November 2023, when it was closed because steel was corroding at an accelerated rate. This has pushed 5,000 more vehicles per weekday towards the Slaw-Rebchuk Bridge and the McPhillips Underpass.
This bridge needs to be taken down, not only to continue progress to replacing the Arlington Bridge, but it is in such bad shape.
Despite this progress, drivers and cyclists might have to be patient. This is just the first phase of demolition. The north side of the bridge has to come down too. The hope is that could be done in 2027. And while design work on a replacement bridge is well underway, there is no funding in place to build a new one yet.
And realistically, if funding would be approved, about 2 to 3 years after decommissioning, we would start construction.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The city says the demolition this year will take up to 6 months, starting as early as June 1st. Traffic will be impacted from time to time at Logan and Arlington. An update now to a story we first brought you on Friday. One person has now died following a crash in Crestview. It happened on Cavalier Drive near Hamilton Avenue around 12:30 Friday afternoon. Now, as you can see, a red SUV crashed into the back of a water truck. Police say the 49-year-old man behind the wheel of the SUV was pulled from the vehicle with serious injuries and pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators say the vehicle was traveling northbound and drove directly into the parked water truck at a high rate of speed. The truck's operator was also sent to hospital in stable condition. An autopsy is pending and the investigation continues. Anyone with information or video is asked to contact the Traffic Division or Crime Stoppers. A driver was airlifted from Winnipeg's Canterbury Park neighborhood after his vehicle rolled over Sunday morning.
I've never seen stars land in the city before. So we watched them take whoever they needed to take over, and then he was in and out very fast.
A spokesperson for Winnipeg Police tells CTV News first responders were sent to the area of Transcona's Murdoch-McKay Collegiate for a single vehicle crash. It happened just before 2 a.m. The driver, a 21-year-old man, was ejected from the car and suffered serious injuries. He was airlifted to hospital in critical condition and has since undergone surgery. He was the only person in the car. The Traffic Division is investigating. Mounties are investigating a suspicious death in a southern Manitoba town. Officers were sent to a vehicle fire inside a self-storage compound in Carman around 1:15 this morning. The vehicle was fully engulfed in flames when they arrived, and the body of a man was located nearby. RCMP were unable to say how he died or who he is. We're told more details will be made available as the investigation unfolds. The Forks is a popular place in Winnipeg year-round, and soon some major events including Pride and Canada Day will really pack in the visitors. But those attending may find the competition is fierce to land a parking spot. Live near the Forks tonight to explain to CTV's John Hendricks. So John, why is it so hard to find a parking spot?
Well, Mary Lee, take a look behind me. This used to be a parking lot. Obviously, it is now fenced off. It's to accommodate the rail side at the Forks development. But as a result, hundreds of parking spaces has been lost. People pulling into the Forks can't pull into a parking spot across from the Human Rights Museum. The area and the 350 spots that used to be here are now a fenced-off construction zone for the upcoming rail side at the Forks development.
That probably would have a lot of impact, I think, for people who are driving.
People like Alicia Pomainville, who squeezed into a very tight spot in order to park Monday.
I was lucky to find a parking spot today, but sometimes you kind of have to make your own parking and hope you don't get caught, or you're waiting at least like 10, 15, 20 minutes for someone to come out so you can get a spot.
Pomainville and others wonder what impact the lost spots will have on parking at the Forks going forward.
Normally we get really crappy weather, so a lot of people aren't going to be walking in -50 to the Forks, so hopefully they'll be able to make some room somewhere, but I doubt it.
The Forks actually has an abundance of parking on most days.
According to figures provided by the Forks, in 2023 there was a total of 1,500 stalls available, and 92% of the time, no more than 700 are occupied. During elevated usage, about 875 spots are grabbed, but on the odd day, far more than that are needed.
So on those busier days, like an Indigenous Peoples Day and Canada Day that are both coming up, we know that parking's at a premium there. But overall, typically you can find spots here at the Forks.
The Forks is encouraging people to use alternate forms of transportation, like Winnipeg Transit when they can. And when they can't, they're advising people use patience and keep circling until that perfect spot opens up. Now, all of this construction doesn't just represent lost parking spaces, it also represents potential lost revenue for the Forks, as obviously people are no longer able to pay for parking here. However, officials from the Forks feel that they will make that money up once the new railside development is open from rent from the tenants that will be in the new construction building. Now, that new facility, by the way, is expected to open up in 2028.
All right, thanks for this, John. Well, you now have another way to cool off, and just in time, because temperatures are about to climb this week. The city began opening many of its spray pads for the season today. The rest are expected to open by Friday, all except for Boyd Park, which is scheduled to open July 2nd. Most spray pads operate daily between 9:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. until September 7th. Meantime, heated outdoor pools are expected to open June 19th, excluding Fort Garry Lions. All other outdoor pools will operate daily, weather permitting, and wading pools will begin operating on a staggered basis beginning July 1st. You can find more on the hours and locations by visiting the city's website or calling 311. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your very sunny and warm Skywatch forecast. Perfect timing for the city to open those spray pads.
Yeah, good call, City of Winnipeg. But as you and I have joked, it feels like I've been running a complaints department this spring with respect to the not so nice weather that we've had for much of this spring season. Well, if you want it hot, if you wanted to fast forward to summer, boy, oh boy, are you going to get your wish this weekend. As hot as it is right now, it's going to get even hotter later in the week. As we head into this Monday evening, you can see winds coming from the north. They've picked up a little bit of speed. They've strengthened somewhat, but otherwise the sky fairly clear. Relatively warm overnight, double-digit lows, but then we're going to crank that heat back up again tomorrow, and then, as I mentioned, even hotter later on this week. I'll show you what's ahead coming up, but for now, let's take a look through the Bathfitter Live Eye, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution in Winnipeg right now. It is 25 degrees, a little bit of light cloud out there. With the Humidex, it feels like 27. Winds, they've actually diminished a bit since last hour, coming from the northeast at 23 kilometers an hour through Winnipeg. The pressure's rising, and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 42%.
Thanks, Colleen. A 26-year-old man is facing several charges following a tense situation in East Elmwood Sunday night. Police say a suspect armed with a handgun barricaded himself inside a room of a home with 4 other people. He allegedly then began waving the gun around and firing indiscriminately. Multiple police units were deployed and eventually were able to get everyone out of the home before the suspect surrendered. No one was injured. Along with a list of firearm charges, the gunman is also charged with 4 counts of forcible confinement and failure to comply. There are calls tonight to improve pedestrian and cycling safety in Winnipeg's North End.
4 lanes and it's rush hour. There are tons of cars and I just biked here and it's a harrowing experience.
This was the scene at Main Street and Mountain Avenue just about an hour ago. People rallied after a pedestrian was hit there Thursday. On May 21st, Winnipeg police responded to reports a vehicle had crashed. A woman in her 50s was hit and taken to hospital with serious injuries. Organizers say the city needs to do something to make this area safer.
When we do multiple little things together, we can make a difference. And whether it's reducing speeds or putting in bike lanes or more restrictions on like photo radar, there's many things we can do to control the culture of our dangerous driving.
There is no update at this time on the condition of the pedestrian who was hit. Well, we're learning more tonight about a major gun seizure in downtown Winnipeg. A 24-year-old man is facing 77 charges after police confiscated nearly 24 loaded handguns from an apartment. Standing by live with the details is CTV's Joseph Bernacki. Joseph, how did this investigation get off the ground?
Well, Marilee, Inspector Joshua Watsky with the Winnipeg Police Service says on May 7th, police received a tip regarding a man in possession of cocaine and armed with a firearm. Police then obtained a search warrant for an apartment suite at 344 Cumberland Avenue in the Central Park neighborhood. Inside, they found 21 restricted loaded handguns, a silencer, around 200 rounds of ammunition. Police also discovered 27 grams of cocaine, $25,000, and other paraphernalia. Watsky says investigators found evidence that a firearm had been discharged within the unit. A round had even struck a church across the street.
I'd like to talk about the impact of this seizure of firearms. These are all firearms that were meant for illegal purposes, whether it's illegal possession or use in a criminal offense. By seizing these firearms, the organized crime unit members have prevented possibly numerous shootings, including homicides, not only in Winnipeg and Manitoba, but throughout Canada, as we've learned that many of these firearms are trafficked within the province and across the country.
The 24-year-old suspect was arrested on Cordon Avenue the same day the apartment was searched. He's facing 77 charges related to drug trafficking and firearm offenses.
Joseph, why do police believe this man had all of these firearms?
Well, Marilee, they allege the man was involved with organized crime and that he was trafficking cocaine to several northern Manitoba communities. However, there's no indication at this time that he was involved in the province's largest ever drug bust, which occurred last week.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Have you ever discovered a favorite drink while traveling and then you wanted to have more once you got home? Alcohol from other provinces can be delivered directly to you, but for local companies selling to out-of-province customers, it's a real challenge. And as CTV's Harrison Shin explains, the deadline to break down that trade barrier is now less than 6 days away.
It's the sound of cooling down in the heat, quenching that thirst. Here at Devil May Care Brewing Company, Colin Cooper is focused on local sales, but they do get out-of-province asks.
We've really gotten that question about like direct-to-consumer sales in other provinces has been like from Winnipeggers who formerly used to live here and really enjoyed our beer and have asked us to, ship it to them and stuff like that.
Back in July 2025, 9 provinces, including Manitoba and 1 territory, Yukon, announced a memorandum of understanding to allow direct-to-consumer sales by May 2026. It means you can buy alcohol from other provinces, breweries, and wineries directly and have it shipped to your home.
We're only 6 days away from the end of the month, and we've really only had 1 additional province fully implement direct-to-consumer shipment of alcohol products. So little movements from government thus far.
Right now, Manitoba is already allowing direct-to-consumer sales, but local businesses like Devil May Care can't sell to out-of-province customers directly. Keely Lepke from Canadian Federation of Independent Business says while Manitoba has been the leader for breaking down internal trade barriers,
Manitoba should be getting up and giving a call to all the premiers, asking where governments are at. Why has this not been announced yet that direct-to-consumer has been allowed in all the other provinces?
In a statement, Manitoba Trade Minister Jamie Moses says in part the government is committed to promote open interprovincial trade, adding they are working to expand Manitoban businesses' market access across the country and will continue to champion Manitoba-made products and encourage Manitobans to support local. For Coop, when interprovincial trade does open up, he'll be ready.
If we were allowed to do it, we'd put an online store up. We'd figure out our shipping model and figure out how we could do that for the customers.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Doctors Manitoba is throwing its support behind the province's proposed social media ban for children and youth.
Doctors believe social media, screen time, and chatbots are among the top risks to children's health and well-being.
A survey released today ranks it higher than substance use, inactivity, bullying, and injuries. More than 90% of the 242 Manitoba doctors surveyed support a ban on social media and AI chatbots for young Manitobans. Most agree it should apply to those 16 and younger. While an age-based ban is the preferred option, the doctors also see a benefit in other types of restrictions.
Physicians also see the potential of other safeguards, such as removing addictive elements like infinite scrolls, more robust content moderation, and eliminating advertising for minors.
Doctors Manitoba says with or without a ban, youth need to be prepared for eventual access to social media, and that should include strong digital literacy and online safety education. Premier Wab Kinew announced last month there would be a ban to prevent children from certain online platforms. Details on the ban have yet to be determined. People in the RM of Gimli are getting a reprieve on bill payment penalties following a cybersecurity incident earlier this spring. The municipality first addressed the cyber attack in April. It's working with cybersecurity experts to investigate and assess the situation, but the full impact isn't yet known. The RM is working to restore its system so residents can process their bill payments at the municipal office. Interest will not be charged on delayed payments as a result, and no penalties will be applied to utility or tax accounts for those affected. Still to come tonight, Prime Minister Mark Carney calls Alberta separation talk a dangerous bluff.
I saw firsthand what happened in the United Kingdom when the view was vote for this, it'll be soft, and then we'll negotiate, etc.
His warnings about the risks to Canada. Plus, deal or no deal? Confusion is still rife about the conflict in Iran, even after the U.S. president indicated a deal had been worked out over the weekend. Those stories and more just ahead. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil lost $6.30. The loonie remained fairly flat, ending the day at 72.44 cents U.S. Gold futures added $61. The TSX jumped 359 points amid hopes of an end to the Iran war. The Dow Jones and NASDAQ were closed for the Memorial Day holiday. Tim Hortons has announced plans to hire 10,000 local workers. The company says it will dial back the use of the temporary foreign worker program. It comes as the coffee chain plans to expand its number of locations, adding 80 new storefronts across the country. A statement from Tim Hortons says the company will also stop lobbying the federal government to expand the temporary foreign worker program amid high rates of youth unemployment. Prime Minister Mark Carney called Alberta Premier's referendum question a, quote, dangerous bluff, one that reminded him of the UK's Brexit vote. Last week, Danielle Smith announced a referendum set for October would include a question about whether or not the province should pursue separation. CTV's Rachel Aiello reports.
That is a very dangerous bluff.
A stark 6-word warning from Prime Minister Mark Carney for Alberta Premier Danielle Smith.
In these separation issues, it is often advanced that vote for this and it's a free option. Vote for this and we will strengthen our hand in a future negotiation. That is a very dangerous bluff.
Unprompted today, the Prime Minister drew on his experience as the Governor of the Bank of England during the Brexit crisis. When asked what he thinks of the referendum question Smith is putting to Albertans this fall.
I saw firsthand what happened in the United Kingdom when the view was vote for this, it'll be soft, and then we'll negotiate, etc. And they ended up, and they're still 10 years later trying to undo what people didn't think they were voting for, but what they ended up having.
Carney's words of caution about understanding the risk of using this referendum as a bargaining chip was met with pushback from Premier Smith, who has called it an exercise in democracy.
I'm just trying to get a gauge of where Albertans are at. I think that that's respectful of the process that 700,000 people went through in signing their petitions.
That sentiment echoed by the separatist Bloc Québécois.
It's still up to Albertans to decide, and definitely not to another government to decide on what if the question should have been asked in the first place.
Conservatives said Carney's comments do nothing to address Albertans' concerns.
He has no right to wag his finger. That makes it worse.
As her province contemplates whether to vote to remain or pursue a path towards independence, Smith also said today she'll keep working with Carney towards a stronger Alberta within a united Canada. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A Korean submarine sailed into Victoria this past weekend for a joint military exercise with the Canadian Navy. But the sub is also on a mission to woo Canadian buyers with a historic procurement decision looming on the horizon. CTV's Adrian Gabriel got a chance to check out the merchandise.
Cutting through Canadian coastal waters, the arrival of the Republic of Korea's Navy is promising to usher in a new era of middle power might and cohesion in protecting the open seas.
Be safe! What really hits home is that Canada needs new submarines.
The Republic of Korea Navy arrived at CFB Esquimalt this weekend on board its KSS-3 submarine. A bid is in place for Canada to purchase 12 of these South Korean-made subs. The only other finalist vying to deliver Canada's next-generation submarine is a joint German-Norwegian bid. Ottawa will announce the winner of the contract this summer, which could come with a price tag of $25 billion. The Korean Navy gave CTV News a tour inside the submarine that could be the centerpiece of Canada's naval future. We were forbidden from taking any of our own video inside. Korean Navy provided footage shows their crew in action. The submarine is more spacious inside than Canada's aging fleet, with the capability to deploy both anti-ship and land attack cruise missiles.
I just want to say thank you.
2 Canadian submariners traveled with the Korean Navy for part of the journey to Canada. When asked to compare the difference between the current Korean sub to Canada's aging fleet, they didn't mince words.
It's kind of like buying a brand new Tesla, you know, and then you're coming out of a 99 Honda Civic.
The Canadian Navy's 4 Victoria-class subs were first built in the 1980s. Only one is currently operational.
You have 3 oceans to patrol. How difficult does that make your job?
I do not have enough ships to patrol and to protect Canada like we should, which is why we're investing.
Currently, the Canadian Navy has approximately 200 submariners. They will need at least 1,000 strong to operate a fleet of 12 submarines.
This is all about democracy and freedom.
The ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Canada believes his country is well positioned to help protect Canadian coastal sovereignty.
Middle powers need to work together, and Korea stands ready to work together with Canada.
In increasingly troubled waters, the Canadian government is focused on forging friendships as it rekindles historic military alliances.
With a decision expected as early as this June, whoever is chosen to deliver Canada's next generation submarine is poised to play an integral role in shaping the country's Navy for decades to come. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, CFB Esquimalt.
It's difficult to know what is going on with Iran. The White House is giving mixed messages, first with hints of a deal and then saying it's not in any hurry. Christiane Cordero reports.
As the war with Iran approaches its 4th month, President Trump now says he's in no rush to reach a deal. Both he and Secretary of State Marco Rubio appear willing to walk away if certain conditions aren't met, despite suggesting over the weekend a new truce was largely negotiated.
We have what I think is a pretty solid thing on the table in terms of their ability to open up the straits, get the straits open, enter into a very real, significant, time-limited negotiation on the nuclear matters, and hopefully we can pull it off.
A senior administration official tells ABC News the interim agreement on the table includes reopening the Strait of Hormuz and an end to the U.S. blockade. Plus, the official says a commitment from Iran to negotiate the removal of their highly enriched uranium stockpile. But an advisor for Iran's supreme leader said overnight, quote, managing the Strait of Hormuz is our legal right. A spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry today said several issues have been dealt with, but that doesn't mean a signed agreement is imminent, criticizing U.S. negotiators for what it calls frequent changes in positions. Iranian state media denies the temporary truce includes any nuclear commitments, a hard line for some Republicans in Congress.
Well, now we're talking about a posture where we may accept the nuclear material remaining in Iran. How does that make sense at all?
And the president today called on several Middle Eastern countries to join the Abraham Accords, which is designed to normalize the relationship between Israel and the Arab world. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
The Pope is warning of the risks of artificial intelligence, especially in how it's changed how war is waged.
Other very troubling voices have also reached me about increasingly autonomous weapons systems, practically beyond any human reach to govern them effectively.
The pontiff is urging world leaders to regulate the development of AI systems, which can spread misinformation and promote conflict. The Pope says the Vatican would like to work with AI developers to discuss the proper use of the technology. In Saudi Arabia, the annual Hajj pilgrimage has begun. The faithful have been praying and gathering around the Grand Mosque before moving to holy sites where the rituals will continue in the coming days. More than 1.6 million pilgrims have arrived in Mecca from outside the country so far. The Hajj is one of Islam's 5 pillars and is required once in a lifetime for Muslims who are physically and financially able. It's one of the world's largest annual religious gatherings. The University of Manitoba men's basketball team just got a slam dunk donation. The Bisons are the benefactor of a cool $1 million, and it came from one of their own. Former team member, Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame inductee, and MLA John Lowen gave the gift to support the program over the next decade, maybe even more. It will also help provide an array of necessities, including equipment, facility upgrades, travel, the establishment of work-study programs, and meals.
To me, this gift is really about gratitude. It's about recognizing the impact others have had on my life and trying to create the same possibility for someone else.
The gift will also enable the university to host major events, including the U Sports Men's Basketball Championships.
And we've always had people come for dinner and show, and then they come here. So why not the best place to bring the dinner to the show?
New life for an old staple. We'll tell you what the owners of Hermano's restaurant are cooking up at a new joint venture in the city's core. Stay with us.
And boy, oh boy, has this spring's weather script flipped just like that. The normal high for Winnipeg for this time of year is 22. We'll blow past that every day this week. Take a look at this. 27 today, 27 over the next couple of days, including Wednesday. And if that's not quite hot enough for you folks, we go up to 33 in the sunshine Thursday, 34 on Friday. Still sunny and hot all through the weekend too. 33 degrees Saturday and Sunday, both days, mostly sunny skies to go with those searing temperatures.
We're learning more tonight about the city's plans for the multi-million-dollar settlement from Caspian Construction over the Winnipeg Police Headquarters project.
Those funds, most of them, will go towards assisting the City of Winnipeg Stabilization Fund, a rainy day fund, to kind of beef that up a little bit.
That fund is used to manage unexpected costs and has faced years of pressure from the COVID-19 pandemic, inflation, and major snow events. The mayor says the plan for the rest will be determined in the next budget process. The settlement was paid to the city's external legal counsel in trust. Now, if the conditions of the trust are met, it will be the last of several payments to the city amounting to approximately $29.67 million. Manitoba's official opposition is crying foul over the province's use of an American company for its online survey system.
We've seen time and time again this premier falsely wrap himself in a Canadian flag and talk about patriotism when it only suits his press conference or announcement as a part-time proud Manitoban.
It all has to do with the province's Engage MB website, where the province posts surveys to gauge citizens' thoughts on various topics. For example, the future of time change or the protection of the Seal River watershed. PC leader Abi Khan says there are plenty of Canadian companies which could be doing the work instead. The site is now operated by an American company called Granicus, which Finance Minister Adrian Salas says purchased the Canadian company which used to manage the site.
The fact that the company had been sold to an American company came to light a handful of months ago. We've moved really quickly to respond to that, and we're going to ensure, again, that these services are being provided by a Canadian company.
Sala also noted all of the information is stored in data centers here in Canada. This all comes in light of Premier Wab Kinew's Buy Canadian policy, which was announced a year ago in response to tariffs imposed by the United States. Parts of Europe are in the grips of a heat wave, and in the UK, the record for the hottest day in May was broken in London. The temperature, 33 degrees. Health advisories in the region are in place until Wednesday. Europe is also seeing extreme temperatures. One person died of heat stroke during a race in Paris Saturday.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
That London heat wave's on its way here.
It sure is. Enveloping Manitoba and northwestern Ontario over the next few days. We haven't talked about heat domes in a minute, haven't we? Many, many months since we've talked about a heat dome forming over the province. Well, that is in process, courtesy of an upper ridge of high pressure that is building over the prairies. It's going to lock in that heat, which, as I showed you a few minutes ago, will only be increasing as we go throughout the next few days. So as if it wasn't already hot enough today, getting into the upper 20s. Just wait. The low to mid 30s await us by the time we get to Thursday through the weekend. As for today, the hottest place in Manitoba turns out to have been in Sprague, 29.8 degrees down there in the southeastern corner of the province. We got up to 27 here in Winnipeg. These winds coming out of the north, they will ease up later on tonight, although they're not too strong. They were gusting in the city last hour, granted, but they are easing up. Meanwhile, the more active weather is to the east. We've got these thunderstorms passing through northwestern Ontario. They've been on the move really throughout the day in that region. So we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for some areas just to the east of Dryden and even closer to Fort Francis, but just to the east of that community. But Sioux Lookout is under that watch. So even if you are just outside that warned area, just be prepared for the potential for those thunderstorms to become severe. Environment Canada says that wind gusts up to 110 kilometers an hour are possible, and hail the size of ping pong balls, rather. Watch out for those. 27 is the current temperature in Kenora. Here in Winnipeg, 25, 26 degrees in Brandon. You saw Melita there, 29 this hour. Bit of a range across the north, 22 in Flin Flon and the Pas, 18 in Thompson. It is just 1 degree in Churchill, and that community set to slip just below freezing overnight tonight. We will stay well above that, of course, here in the south. We had a trough of low pressure that's been exiting Manitoba today, bringing with it a few scattered showers. More so a possibility up in the northeast tonight around Gillam and Churchill, but not much to it. The rest of the province really quite clear. The winds easing up east into northwestern Ontario. That active weather well out of the way overnight. We get into Tuesday, and that heat dome, that upper ridge of high pressure, will only continue to build over the prairies, locking in that heat another day into the upper 20s across the south. Not quite as warm in the north, but quite warm temperatures there into the 20s in some areas as well. Overnight we go into Wednesday. Not much changes. That's the effect of that ridge of high pressure sort of blocking out really any weather from happening aside from trapping in that heat and keeping the sky clear. Speaking of which, it will be mostly clear for us here tonight in Winnipeg, down to 11 degrees. Winds at their strongest out of the northwest at 20 this evening. They'll be lighter overnight. East light winds for the commute tomorrow. Mostly sunny, already 15 degrees on the way to another hot high of 27. Winds pick up a bit out of the east tomorrow afternoon at about 20 kilometers an hour. The UV index for Tuesday for Winnipeg is 6 or high. We have to talk about UV index again. A few clouds tonight over Churchill, and actually the likelihood of fog is more so over Churchill than Gillam. 3 in Gillam overnight, Thompson down to 8 and cloudy, a mix of sun and cloud there and 20. In the northwest tonight, partly cloudy or clearer skies, overnight lows in that 7, 8, 9 degree range, and then tomorrow sunshine for most areas, upper teens, low 20s highs. Clear tonight across much of the southwest, overnight lows between 9 and 11. Brandon tomorrow up to 27, 25 for Dauphin. often, but those areas will be quite windy. Those winds will be strong across the southwest. Winnipeg and the southeast fairly clear at most, a few clouds over Winnipeg, down to around 10-11 degrees for most of us in the southeast. Sunny and hot tomorrow, hot highs in the mid to upper 20s in the sunshine. And in northwestern Ontario, clear tonight in Kenora, Dryden and Fort Frances. It will clear overnight, and then sunny and temperatures in the mid-20s for your Tuesday. Our first weather photo is what Michelle says, sunset on the prairies, as you can clearly see. That was from her perspective at Kings Park here in Winnipeg. And this next photo is lovely as well. This is out in Neepawa. Now, Louise said after the rain went through, the blossoms you can see there were on full display in her pear tree. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Earlier this month, we told you Hermano's Steakhouse was closing in the Exchange District, but fans of the South American restaurant won't have to wait too long to sink their teeth back into one of those signature dishes. Hermano's is taking over a long vacant space attached to Centennial Concert Hall this fall. The news comes just weeks after co-owner Noelle Bernier announced its Bannatyne location was closing after 17 years. But the new digs will be a double feature for the Bernier family. It's also opening a cafe in the concert hall space as well.
As soon as we found out this was available, took a look, and the space is huge. It's wonderful. So it just seemed like the perfect fit. Like Hermano's is dinner and a show, and we've always had people come for dinner and a show, and then they come here. So why not the best place to bring the dinner to the show?
Nanny's House Cafe will serve Icelandic and Métis cuisine. The cafe will be open during the day and on nights when there are events at the concert hall. Meantime, Hermano's will be open 5 nights a week and feature live music. The Bernier family hopes to open both restaurants in September.
Their brains are still developing and they have more difficulty calibrating risk.
It's known as the most dangerous time of year for teen drivers. How to lower the risk for young people behind the wheel this summer, next in Medical Watch. A Fredericton widow is speaking out after her husband died of glioblastoma. He spent more than 3 decades as a city firefighter, and she wishes more families knew the hidden dangers. CTV's Laura Brown explains.
Firefighting brought them together. A Miss Fredericton pageant where the city's firefighters were asked to escort the contestants.
We kind of both knew that we wanted to stick together.
Ken Jenkins had 4 loves of his life: his wife Joni, their 2 boys, and firefighting. His career spanned 30-some years. His battle with cancer, 7 months.
I did say once, the career Ken loved is going to kill him.
Ken Jenkins died at 63 from a brain tumor known as a glioblastoma. It's assumed his time as a firefighter is what caused the cancer, which is why his passing is recognized as a line-of-duty death.
It wasn't until we did a deep dive on it that we realized what the beast we were facing.
Cancer is killing our firefighters.
A firefighter for 25 years and counting, Barry Durling feels it's only a matter of time before he's diagnosed. Firefighters have a 9% higher risk of cancer than the general public and is 14% more likely of dying from it. In the last decade, 31 New Brunswick firefighters have died in the line of duty. 29 were due to cancer.
Our turnout gear is laced with forever chemicals, PFAS, and they're absorbing through our skin when we sweat and getting into our bloodstream, causing cancer.
The Fredericton Department has committed to buying its 120 members chemical-free gear by next year. But Durling feels New Brunswick needs to recognize more cancers as occupational illnesses. Right now, the province lists 10. In Nova Scotia, it's 20. Joni is hoping for that change so more families get to see their heroes live longer. She says Ken's kindness and service is now his legacy.
Right about now, I think the world needs a little more of that.
Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Uganda is confirming 2 more cases of Ebola, bringing the total number of cases in that country to 7. The 2 new cases are healthcare workers at a private facility. The epicenter of the outbreak is in neighboring Congo, where there are more than 900 suspected cases and more than 200 suspected deaths. There have now been 3 attacks in the country targeting hospitals treating Ebola patients. Yesterday, young men stormed a hospital demanding to see their family. The World Health Organization has declared the outbreak a public health emergency. Canada's top doctor says the risk of the virus affecting people in this country remains low. This is the beginning of what's described as one of the most deadly times on the road for teen drivers.
That's when teens drive more, they have more free time, and they're often driving in higher risk conditions. Their brains are still developing and they have more difficulty calibrating risk, frankly.
In the U.S., teens between the ages of 16 and 19 have a fatal crash rate almost 3 times higher than drivers ages 20 and older per mile driven. And that tends to spike in the summer. Not using a seatbelt, distracted driving, speeding, substance use, and having teenage or young adult passengers in the car are all factors which raise a teen's driving risk.
In addition, driving late at night, particularly between 9 p.m. and midnight, is associated with an elevated crash risk.
To reduce your risk, parents can monitor their teens' driving, set clear rules and expectations like always wearing a seatbelt, not using the phone, and not driving with other young people in the car. Choosing a vehicle with safety features is also important.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Some world-class footwork and classic Irish tunes will be on full display this weekend in Winnipeg. What you can expect when a taste of Ireland takes the stage next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting country legend Marty Stewart.
You can take a musical journey back in time across the Emerald Isles this weekend. A taste of Ireland, the Irish music and dance sensation is coming to Canada for the very first time and making a stop in Winnipeg Saturday. World-renowned Irish dancers will be putting their talents on display alongside contemporary musicians and vocalists. The show also explores the history of the region through dance and themed scenery.
We do go through different events within Ireland's history. So you'll notice that the first part of the show is a lot darker almost because Ireland did go through those tough times during Vikings, the famine, all of that. So we try to portray the history of Ireland through Irish dance.
A Taste of Ireland takes the stage at Burton Cummings Theatre Saturday evening. You can find tickets through the Burt's website or Ticketmaster. The latest release in the Star Wars film franchise soared to the top of the box office in its debut weekend.
Check your armor. The kid will live.
The Mandalorian and Grogu brought in $102 million from theaters across the U.S. and Canada. That's higher than pre-weekend forecasts. Horror movie Obsession finished in the second spot, earning just over $22 million. Michael rounded out the box office in the third spot. Drake is taking over the top of the Billboard 200 albums chart as his 3 new albums, Iceman, Habibti, and Maid of Honor, debut in the top 3 spots.
Big one, you doing a little one.
This marks the first time that an artist has held the top 3 spots on the Billboard 200 concurrently since it began publishing on a regular weekly basis back in March 1956. Coming up tonight on your primetime lineup at 7, The Big Bang Theory and Hockey Fanatics. Next is Battle of the Generations at 8. Then at 9, Catch the Rookie. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Well, we hit 27 degrees this afternoon, but we have to go back to 1980 for the record for May 25th, 33 degrees in Winnipeg, but we'll get there later this week. Mostly clear tonight, down to 11. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, a lot like today, temperatures up around 27. Now, as we go even higher on Thursday during the day, the overnight lows do as well. Low to mid 30s Thursday, right through the weekend, merrily in the sunshine.
Wow. Thanks, Colleen. From backyard hurlers to serious elite tossers, the 3rd annual Manitoba Cornhole Championships were held over the weekend. Good shot. The championships took over Heather Curling Club for the Battle of Tossers. The 3 points you get for making it into the hole and 1 point for landing the bag on the board. The Manitoba Cornhole Association says the activity has been growing so fast this year, it expanded into 3 divisions: competitive, intermediate, and social. Vice President Jason McNish says the entry barrier is really low and anybody can get good at it quickly. Now, in terms of how the game started, well, he credited it to human nature.
I think just it started with humans being competitive, and they probably were tossing something into a pail at some point, and then they thought, well, hey, let's stand up farther back. Hey, why don't we put a hole in the board and get Aunt Margaret to sow some corn into a bag, and we'll do that. And I think just over time, that game started growing, and other people took it on and made more official rules and more official boards and more official equipment.
And if you're thinking about giving it a try, McNish says throwing the bag flat can help yield a consistent result.
Good tip.
I've seen that in action because I'm like a lobber, right?
Yeah,
like I do the big arch. My brother, I don't know, he just like kind of,
he knows.
He destroys me every time. I lose every time. I'm definitely the social, in the social category.
That's right. There you go.
All right, have a good night. We'll see you back here.